But I'm very honored and very pleased to welcome you here again and again, by the way, to Lithuania. Dr. Chinmay Pandya, Vice Pro Chancellor at the University of the Sanskriti. And then you continue, please.
Deva Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya. But above all, the important thing is, like, that the Deva Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya is the only university in the world which hosts Asia's first and world's largest center for Lithuanian studies.
Beautiful. And voila. The unofficial part is that I'm beyond grateful for the recent December month visit at the university and your precious time, daily time, 3 times a day, I guess, on the studies of yogic philosophy. And it's been a one-in-a-lifetime experiences, that's for sure. We can't compare the experiences, but this one was the one that I'm gonna remember all my life. So thank you so very much to be able to really to come closer to yoga, come closer to the understandings of what is written in the scriptures.
What is the true origin of yoga?
And what is the true origin of yoga? And I needed those many years of practice to come back to the true origin of yoga. Do you have an aspiration every time you go on public speaking, on spreading the message? Do you have an aspiration each time, or?
I think nothing.
You think nothing?
Absolutely. My mind is always blank.
Okay.
So whatever comes to me, I return it back.
In the meantime, I have an aspiration for today's talk, I guess, to spread the message of yoga within our Western society, so that people really understand what are the benefits and what is the real meaning of yoga, and what is the difference of what yoga really is, and how we, I will dare to use the word, consume yoga in the Western world, and what are the missing points. So this is my aspiration, heartfelt aspiration, from what I see, from what I feel, from it's been 8 years of service, yes, this week, through yoga, together with Mindaugas as well. We started delivering classes here, but we brought yoga from California, not from India. So as we cannot change the past, and we can only be grateful for the beginning and the first impulse to find yoga. We also do have an aspiration of using this discipline and respecting this discipline at the same time in the best possible way.
I read it somewhere.
That was long.
No,
a long aspiration.
Long, but right aspiration and right place to have that aspiration.
Right place, you think?
Because 12 years ago, after Israel, outside India, the country that had the maximum yoga studios and maximum aspirants for yoga was Lithuania, in the entire world. In the entire world.
Okay.
We're talking about 2007 or 8.
Okay.
So if the true yoga has to find its ground, then it should be Lithuania. So this is the right place to be.
This is absolutely the right place to be.
Yeah, like, there is no reason that it should not take birth than any other country than Lithuania.
Okay, this is impressive.
And very important, like, because what you said is so relevant and important, because if we see ourselves why anyone started to follow the path of yoga. If it was only the physical agility that people were looking for, there are better gymnasts in Europe than anywhere else. If you were only looking for a command on the physical body and the bodily functions, we have got Chi, Ki, Reiki, Shiatsu, so many other minor variants to those disciplines. People came to the path of yoga because, in my opinion, we have got this inevitable search for the meaning of our existence. We are looking for the answer to a question. And when I say we means humanity. There's this hunt for perfection in humanity where we are searching for this unending freedom, final freedom, without knowing who I truly am and what my purpose in this vast existence is. Whatever I earn, yearn, learn or do, that would be imperfect and futile. I would be able to do many things, but won't be able to accomplish anything of significance and meaning and purpose and satisfaction and fulfillment. That's where the yoga comes. That's exactly where the yoga comes into the picture, because if you see in the natural world, every other being, they are in sync with their purpose. You never have to tell a flower to be a flower. But only human beings have to be told to be human beings and embrace humanity. So somehow we lost our internal compasses. Our emotions and identities are clouded, fragmented, broken. Question is why? And one of the reasons why it is because our inner aspiration, what you want to be, and societal expectations, what society wants me to be, they are not in alignment with each other. The world wants us to be something else than what I am born to be. If you look at the ideals that are paraded in front of us by the society, how physically I should look, how emotionally I should look, what kind of clothes I should wear, what kind of house I should have, what kind of car I should use, all these things are prefabricated. Now if I am not accomplishing that, apart from having a split personality, a fractured individual, and an ever unhappy person, because I can never have all of it, what else I am gifting it to the human being? So naturally, I think the main thing that comes when we talk about yoga, besides the physical control, is this sincere question, is to allow everyone to be what they are born to be. To give them the true meaning of their existence. Because if I am not doing it, then I am only gifting somebody pain, misery, guilt, and a trauma that no medicine can heal. So when you go through the scriptures and listen to Patanjali, for example, Yoga Sutra, he says, Yoga chitta vritti nirodha, tada drushtuhu swarupe avasthanam. If I am able to accomplish the true yoga, what follows is that I am seated in my true consciousness. Meaning that otherwise I have lost it. So what we are gifting everyone is the true self, if you follow the path of yoga.
Beautiful. And I actually had, it was one of the last questions that I had. What is it really that a human being is looking for in life? And it felt like you related that, you answered that without a question of the meaning of life, the deeper meaning of life. Did I understand that correctly?
Because the thing is that for long we have been dreaming a dream, and the dream is that if you just give money and prosperity to every individual, they would automatically have happiness. 100 years ago probably this had been true, but now when you look and people have got what they were looking for, the real questions of life, they start to emerge. Moment you have, the struggle for survival is gone. Like 100 years ago, if you have made it to 50, 60 years old or 70 years old, it would have been an accomplishment. But now it's easy. Now you can reach to that state, you have well looked after, social welfare is there, everything is there. Then the real questions are there.
Yeah, I see. When the tummies are full.
When the tummy is full.
Yeah, when the tummy is full, what's next?
What's next?
And in Lithuania, with such a rise of the economy, it is really booming now. And people are getting more and more full of everything. We may, really in this country, in Lithuania, we may witness and observe of the change in the consciousness and the change in understanding of okay, so what's, or the main question of what's next, because we were, for such a long time, after Soviets collapsed, we were trying to fill our tummies, right? So we were busy filling our tummies and expanding our territories and the standard of living itself. And it feels like this is the moment really in the, this is the moment where we feel full already in the society. And so the big question starts arising. And as from the yoga studio perspective, when I teach, I can also witness that people do look for something deeper. And they do. They don't know what. They don't know how to express that. They don't know where to go. Shall they go to the church every Sunday? Or shall they start studying yoga? Or shall they go to the yoga studio? What is it that, you know, the first things that they have, that they would take as a tool to grab kind of for the search of the spirituality and the life meaning? But it's very felt in the air, I think, and it's amazing. It's amazing when the tummies are full.
Very important also, it's a paradigm shift in the consciousness.
Exactly.
When you feel, do you feel full, but do you feel fulfilled?
Exactly.
That's the important, like, you know, demarcation. When Vivekananda went, like, you know, 1890s to America, people said, you are saying very beautiful things. Why are you not telling it to the people in India? And he said, because classes are different. They are struggling to get the bread of the evening.
Yeah.
The moment they would have it, my sayings would make sense to them. Because once you have the, like, you know, survival is already looked after. The struggle for survival is gone. Then the real questions of life, they start to emerge. Survival for what? Now we have means to live for, no meaning to live for.
Exactly, exactly.
So to give the meaning, like, you know, to give this beauty from inside where I know the purpose of my life, then every single second of my life becomes celebration.
I just now saw it, the process itself as, you know, as we, so many years, our human psyches were used to the daily routines that were focused towards the survival and feeding the tummies in general. And now, even when the consciousness already kind of feels that there is a bigger purpose, and yes, I want to maybe practice spirituality or find the way into the deeper meaning, there is this, what I've just visualized now, that the actions that we took so many years towards the survival mode were so frequent and so normal that even if the mind is already kind of upgraded with a program, there is this kind of a probational period if you're gonna go through it, because the mechanics of the habits, how we operate, and we just keep wanting a bigger salary, right? Until when? And that keep wanting, when does it stop? And so that, yeah, the probation period that happens also, you know, until we really switch to the normal physical functioning, like full tummies, but enough tummies, and having a more fulfilling life in general through maybe spirituality as such.
There is a theory of diminished return in economics. which means like, if I am going to buy my first shoe, there would be a period of excitement in my heart. Oh, I'm getting the first shoe. But once you have it, the value of that shoe is gone. Like that pair of shoes, like moment you had it, you have all the excitement till you wanted to have it. Now, moment you purchase, the excitement goes. So how do I try to compensate it? I search for a new pair of shoes, then another one. But then the economics says that with every new pair of shoes, you are losing the excitement of having a new one. So how can we change it? You give the old pair of shoes to someone else.
Okay.
The moment you learn to share, you develop a new way of getting the same excitement of seeing that happiness on someone else's face.
Yeah, generating happiness, but just the reverse. Oh, that's pretty.
And that's what the spirituality truly is. Like, it's bringing the happiness. It's not complicated thing. It's actually finding the happiness in everyday things of our life. People made it complicated. Like, we reach to meditation, we reach to the higher states of consciousness later on. First thing is to find the genuine happiness in everything that we do. If that is not there, then whatever we are doing is meaningless and purposeless and futile. Like, it just are empty words reaching nowhere. So I think that's where the yoga really plays a role, because the actual purpose of the yoga, if you read even the scriptures, it says buddha yukto jahati hai ubhe sukra dushkrute tasmad yoga yujusva yoga karmasu kaushalam, meaning that yoga is the balance within and harmony outside. And what does it mean? It means that I have got 3 layers of personality. I have got actions, emotions, thoughts.
So this is yoga. You are now saying, okay, what is yoga basically?
What is yoga basically is. And yoga is the, the 3 layers of my personality from a psychological perspective are actions, emotions, and thoughts. There is no 4 dimension. But if all 3 are going in 3 different places, I am sitting here, but my mind is somewhere else, and my emotions are going some other place, then I have become a broken individual. There is no harmony within me.
I can feel it, like all over.
And then there is no integration.
Yeah. That's
so splitting is the suffering, and happiness is the harmony. Moment I have created a split within me, I have broken down my happiness into bits and pieces.
So it's a bringing together.
Bringing together.
Bringing together.
And we are focused only on one dimension of it at the moment. Like, when you ask the question that what do we need to do to change the approach when we are giving, the classes in Europe or in Lithuania, because this came from California, because it only one dimension came. And that dimension was at the physical level. But if there is nothing that we are doing to offer in terms of bringing the harmony from within, the thoughts or emotions, true happiness would be a far-fetched notion. It would be far away. So the actual idea of the yoga comes not only from the superficial aspect of it, but from deep within ourselves.
So it's bringing it all together.
All together. Bringing, our layers of personality together, our approach to the life together. Otherwise, I am attending a place but not available. I am present, but my consciousness is not there. And that comes when both are integrated as a whole. That's why the yoga is considered a holistic view of life. In the Indian spiritual tradition, in the philosophical tradition.
So are you saying that, for instance, the way yogis would manage or teach how to manage the emotions, so they have the method, the philosophy behind how to teach the emotional awareness, for instance.
Exactly.
Is that correct?
That's why, for example, the program that our university, which is the largest university of yoga studies in India, is trying to offer with you in Lithuania is so unique and special, because the physical aspect of your asanas, pranayam, mudra, bandha, and the Hatha yogic tradition, mostly that came, that's been generally covered in all kind of yoga teacher training program. But how to find your own happiness and how to offer it to others, how to find your own purpose of life and to offer it to others, one need to go deeper.
Exactly.
And to go deeper, you need to not only think higher, but you also need to have an ability to connect with your true self. Only if I return back to my own center, then I can help other to find it. I cannot give the direction to other if I don't even know the map of that place myself. So we are offering the program that you are thinking to offer here in Lithuania is very special, because it is coming in collaboration with the largest university of India for yoga program. Second, it is encompassing all the sub variants of that yoga study. Not only the physical aspect, but yoga philosophy, the spiritual aspect of it, the therapy aspect of it, along with the research aspect of it, and the scientific dimension to it. And all these things to have at one place makes it a very exceptional, endeavor.
And I could say that how I feel it, so far I had 6 groups, and obviously every teacher training was upgraded, and I learned something new, how to add, how to manage the information and everything. But the whole structure, the one that first of all, I must as a Western teacher to teach in order for my students to be eligible to become teachers. There is this structure that gives me and my students also a lot of clarity of what yoga is and of how to work in a structural manner of the class and all these kind of things. But now with that collaboration, it feels like the air is being filled with the content as well, with what's behind, to have the harmonious class, to have at the end of the day the balanced teacher who is giving the class, so that there is a deeper understanding of what covers it all, like an atmosphere, Yeah, so it's a great honor and responsibility as well, but it's a big enrichment as from the content side, that's for sure.
That is true. Like I'm a doctor, and if you make somebody a doctor, you need to teach them anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, but also pathology, microbiology, pharmacology, then medicine, surgery, and other disciplines they come. You cannot teach somebody medicine without giving them an understanding of physiology. You cannot teach somebody surgery without giving them an understanding of anatomy. But here what we are doing, or we have been doing generally, is teaching only them anatomy and physiology, but nothing about what to do with it. And now what we are doing is above the skeleton of what was being offered, you are putting the flesh on and creating the holistic.
That's a very anatomical way of
holistic individual.
Yeah, it's like filling the air, so it's the skeleton, full flesh. Full, no flesh. Who is eligible to teach yoga in India? Just to understand what's the qualification needed to be a yoga teacher in India?
There are 3 different layers to that answer. Ideally, who should have been the good teacher? The word for that is acharya. And acharya word comes from acharana. Acharana means to live. If you are living what you are teaching, then you are worthy to offer that. Go back to like 4,000 years ago or 6,000 years ago. India had 639 rishi at one point in time, but only 2 were offering the classes. Because everyone else thought that we have not reached to that level where we can offer it. In spite of them being the head of the institution, great learned scholar in their own capacity, that you go and do other thing. You open a business, you open a shop, but don't come to the teaching, because teaching was reserved for those people who had lived that long enough to offer.
And now, in the meantime, in the Disneyland.
Now it's absolutely opposite. You have the money, first thing you do is actually opening a teaching place. So like, it has become absolutely opposite. You had the money, you open a shop, but don't come to teach. Teaching is reserved for those people who are living those principles, what they are like, giving it to others. So that is if you ask me the question that who was eligible to teach in India, those were eligible to teach. However, with time, now because it is so difficult to find those kind of people, you would hardly find one single soul. You have got two. One is a structured way of teaching and one is an unstructured way of teaching. Unstructured way of teaching unfortunately became popular, where somebody goes for a weekend, attend a program, and then suddenly he or she is entitled to offer a yoga teacher training program because they have got a diploma to say it. However, a structured way of teaching is where people, say for example, they come to our university, they do 3 years of bachelor's program in yoga studies and sciences, then 2 years of master, then they do the PhD, and it's all 12 years of study, and then you become entitled to teach. Now, problem is that these are two extremes. One is where somebody has given like 12 to 13 years of their life to learn something, and another has hardly even given 12 hours. It was more like a hobby. They did not even know that there is something called as a yoga program, and they went to Himalayas and suddenly they realized that there is a program being offered in Rishikesh, so why don't we do it? We are here already over the weekend, so they do a yoga teacher training program, return suddenly with a diploma that now I can teach. And that's where the problem is, because what happens, that there is a categorical difference between a doctor and and a shop which is offering the medication. A shop that is offering the medication can give you cough lozenges, but cannot treat your pneumonia. What is happening is that this demarcation is gone, because one who should be only be able to give a direction to the people, they should say ideally that this much we know. We don't know about yoga philosophy, we don't know about yoga spirituality, we don't know about the yoga sadhana, so we should not comment upon it. We know about the yoga asana, and that's the only thing we should teach you. That is fine, because that's being honest to the person that you are teaching, and that's being honest to your own integrity. But if I create a false perception, like I am a psychiatrist, and I create a false perception in somebody's mind that I can teach your eye problem, or I can treat your eye problem, then it's a big fallacy I am creating, not only for me but for the other individual equally. I think that needs to be repaired. Nothing needs to be changed in the way people are offering, but they should be more true, honest and genuine in what they are offering. So then, to answer your question, that who is eligible are those people. However, these people are equally eligible, but they are eligible to offer only an awareness to the serious study of the yoga program. A 48-hour program or a 7-day long program or a 14-day long program, they are not making somebody equally qualified as somebody who has given 12 years of his life or her life to be a serious academician in the path of yoga. So I think that demarcation should be clear in the heart, soul and mind of the people who are receiving and those who are offering. Then it becomes much easier, genuine, honest and right. Then we are not doing something that is not supposed to be done.
Yes, that sounds like one part is the educational side, which can be negotiable for how long we should study, as yoga in such a wide subject. It's literally can be studied the whole life, so it's never kind of, there is never the space. If we take it like very, very seriously, then there is never the right time to start teaching, because it's so never ending, really. And so there is one part, this technical question of how long we should study it as a discipline, and another is how we are feeling ready or not to be teaching, and if we feel ready, so what's the content of the teaching, to teach what you know and you don't teach what you don't know. As Mark Stephens, my first yoga teacher, very earthy, but he would always emphasize that due to such a richness of yoga and understanding that it's really impossible to really to digest into the system in 200 hours or even 1,000 hours, it's impossible. You just teach what you know and you don't teach what you don't know. So that's kind of like an integrity part.
So true. So true, because then what we do is that, if we are not telling it to the person who is coming, that we are creating a disillusionment in their mind for the entire path of yoga. They would return thinking that this is the only path of yoga, while that is not. And what you said is so correct. It's like, so say for example, you are European champion. Now somebody else can throw his hands in a party. Does not mean that he or she has the equal capacity and caliber as you, because they are two different categories. And here, what people are receiving as a message, that just because you have attended something for seldom hours, gave you the equal authority, integrity, knowledge, wisdom, and a skill that somebody else had after giving good 10, 12 years of their study. That's why, to return back, why it became so important, this collaboration, because universities have that tradition. And universities have that tradition where, the richness of the study has been kept intact and nurtured and polished, and after again and again and batches after batches, people are giving serious amount of time. If somebody is giving 12 years of their life, to a one particular discipline, not only they learn, but they also enrich that particular field and allow a new kind of fashion to emerge. And that fashion that comes out of it is important. But now, of course, the yoga has become a fashion and people have forgotten the passion. So I think it's
As for the fashion, I wanted to ask you, how do you like our yoga fashion in the West?
So that's the bit that is gone, where it has gone wrong. And Gurudev gave a path when he wrote 3,400 books. And out of them, 30 books he devoted to a path of Pragya Yoga. And it's such a beautiful way of thinking, because he said, the yoga is a comprehensive approach for the transformation of an individual.
Comprehensive approach to the transformation of the individual.
And that is a subjective feeling. If I become a good human being, who can be a better judge than myself? I would know in my heart, whether I really have an ability to deal with the issues of the life in a better manner than before. If I don't have it, then fine, I can keep saying whatever I want to say. Nobody is stopping me to say it. But I don't feel it. And that vacuum inside, you cannot pretend to have for a long period of time. So that's why, that is so important to have this comprehensive approach. Not only the physical, but also a deeper approach for transformation of the consciousness.
Because usually how we see yoga, as in the West, you drop on the mat and you drop into the class, and so it's yoga on the mat, and the things that you were just talking now is yoga off the mat. It's basically I guess it's what I'm saying is to remind people of how everything that happens on the yoga mat will be brought into your homes, into your lives, and it is important how rich the class is. As well, it is important to remember that the teachings of yoga does not end with the end of the class, and we can continue on. Preferably, we should continue on living the yogic life.
It's like this famous story of Lord Krishna. Somebody went to him and asked him that who is a perfect yogi in your opinion? And he said King Janak. And everyone was surprised, because they thought the rishi or a yogi should be named, but how a king could be yogi. So somebody went to see him, and Janak was having a normal courtroom, people were complaining, and he was absolutely calm. So people asked him that how do you maintain yoga in all this chaos? He said, I will tell you the answer, but go and see my capital first. So he said, fine, there are so many monuments to see, so many beautiful things to see. He said, fine, but he said, before going, take this glass of oil with you. It's filled up to the mark. You drop a single one, there is a soldier walking behind you, he will chop your head. He said, fine. Came back 9 hours later, and Janak said, King said, what did you see in my capital? He said, I saw nothing, I was looking at the glass all the time. So Janak said, this is how I maintain it. No one knows when could be the last second, so I live every second to the fullest. And I think that's where the true yoga is. That's where it becomes off the mat. Because we limit it only to the mat, thinking that we have got two lives. But there is one life in continuum. There is no one life on the mat and there is no other life off the mat. There is only one life. And every single second should be filled with the same awareness, same happiness, same integrity, same harmony. Why should there be two, different approaches?
So that naturally moves towards my question of I was about to ask you and give a brief lecture on how to make 24-hour day into 48-hour day. Because I know you have this magic trick, and that's for sure. I've seen it, I've witnessed that for a month, how one human being can function in such a productive manner, being in a complete equilibrium within. And it feels like your productivity is at its highest. So can you talk about it more?
It has only one simple trick.
How do you do that?
No, one simple trick. This trick is Gurudev said a beautiful, beautiful saying. I love it like anything. In Hindi it says, Har din naya janma, har raat nayi maut. That you wake up in the morning thinking this is the only day that's been given to you.
It's confusing for people to really understand where yoga begins, where yoga ends, and if I am really in the yoga place, because what we've seen in the market, that if you drop into the yoga studio, doesn't mean that you will end up in the yoga studio, meaning that there is a way of bringing the communities together through yoga, and then having an extra curriculum activities during meditation retreats and all that, and then the psychedelics come, and so it's a question if we want to raise this question in general, I think. How do you feel?
I think the issue is if I take the middle ground on it, I think moment you have got something in abundance, there would be a scarcity of the value. The moment you have got something that is everywhere.
Exactly. Many same things.
Many same things. Then you would immediately have that people would start to lose value of it.
That's true.
20 years ago, when people they were first time hearing about it, there was a hunger in them to know more about it. But now everyone is talking about the same thing again and again, just with new kinds of words. So people have either become tired and exhausted to hear it, or it's not reaching to the deeper core. 17th century or 18th century, I don't know when it was, when aluminium was first discovered, it was much more valuable than diamond. The moment everyone had the aluminium, the price was gone. It's like that. Like, we are creating, lowering the price of what something that is priceless by giving, the raw material to everyone. None of them had an ability to polish it. And suddenly, and what it does, that when you have got so many artificial diamonds, even if you get a real diamond, you won't be able to appreciate the difference in it. So that makes it harder, because everyone using the same kind of label. So how would you know that out of all these labels, which one is the right one? And everyone claims to have the right one.
And what are the diamonds? The diamonds that we just, I would dare to say, must include in the Western yoga class. A studio as such, you enter the studio, you have 1 hour or 1.5 hours of yoga class. What are these diamonds, the Polish diamonds, that we can, within those circumstances, with this time limit, in this environment, enjoy the most and get the benefits for every one of us, right?
It's a difficult question to answer, because one person changing it won't change it for all. But I think whosoever has got genuine interest and integrity, and there are people who have got that. I would not say that everyone is the same. There are people with really true devotion to the path of yoga, and they really want to help other people, and there is a equally meaning the teachers and also the aspirants. There are good on both sides. I believe the first approach should be, because now it has reached to every single corner of the world. First would be to tell people that what is being offered in a yoga studio is not the only path. There is more. That has to be clearly communicated. And also saying that the true path of yoga, if it would come, it has nothing to do with the place. It has to do with your own inner consciousness. If I feel calm, composed, confident, compassionate, and I feel that only in Haridwar and Rishikesh, then it is related to the place. It's not my own state of consciousness. So scenery is changing, I remain the same person. But the true yoga, if it comes, it should come in the club of Vilnius, or or zoo of Berlin, as much as it should come anywhere else. And that is what needs to be told to the people, so that the approach starts to change, and people's aspiration, they start to become much more truthful. It is not possible to change anything overnight, but it is possible to raise the awareness or change the tune. If we are singing a song on the radio and we start to change the frequency.
Yeah, that sounds like my daughter's physics.
So
change the tone. So basically, okay, but so we have. Can we say that the tool that we use to show that this transformation and the internal transformation is possible is through the body awareness, as if we do, because the physical asana aspect is the major one in our classes, right?
Absolutely.
So we use the body as a tool, the breath as a
body
tool.
is the glass, and consciousness is the water. So you need the glass to hold the water. So you need a good vessel to hold that. Only thing is that what we are doing, we're making very nice glasses, but we're pouring dirty water in it.
Or nothing.
That needs to be changed.
Just
We are
moving on a
working
skeleton.
too much on the glass, but not so much on what we're going to put inside. So what is the main that is needed? The approach is absolutely right. That's what I'm saying, that this is important. If we get very nice water, but there is no vessel to hold, it's going to be pointless.
So basically, moving our bodies with awareness, filling in the content of the professional and super enlightened teacher. Filling our bodies and our systems with the teaching that is preferably genuine and true yogic.
Acha.
Prasham. My heart, honest, your heart.